What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
Alright, Diesel heads, it's episode 9 of the Chronicles of Diesel. My name is Ethan, and with me here today is Devin.
Baby, what are you wearing?
Oh, I do remember when he says that. I had to think about it for a second, because there's a couple, like, strip clubs, and I think, no, it's when he's talking to his wife. He's sneaking up on her like a creeper.
There's other ones I had, but I don't remember. I need to write who actually said these, because some of them are just funny, like, out of context. Like, man, this isn't fun, is one of the ones that I had. Do me a favor and shut the fuck up was another one that I had. But I'm like, that's too
That was
rude.
a good one.
Introduce me and I tell you to shut the fuck up.
We just end the episode there. Like, okay, sorry. Click. Yes, so this is the Chronicles of Diesel. Once a month, we go through Vin Diesel's filmography in chronological order, whether he is an actor, director, writer, producer. Thankfully, for the most part, he's been an actor in everything. Today is no such difference. He is an actor and a producer in the 2003 film A Man Apart, and we're going to be talking about that today. Before we jump back into 2003, currently it is December 1st of 2020, perhaps the final month of existence. Tell me, Devin, what happened in November of 2020 in Vin Diesel's life?
Well, if you're new to this, every month, like Ethan just said, we recap what happened in the previous month in terms of maybe his social media or any interviews he's done. So he had 8 posts on Instagram. That's like my main source. That's like my go-to source because it's straight from him most of the time. You know, you get
Straight
info
from the cow.
Yeah, info straight from the cow. And I've been tracking as a social media, I guess, connoisseur. I've been tracking his following, how much it's gone up every month. And 2 months ago, he was at 65.9 million followers. And then last month, or the month prior to that, it was 66.3. Can you guess how many followers he's currently at?
68.2.
Oh, too high. 67.1 million. But I think he might crack 68 in December, easily. I think he's on a good pace right now. He's getting, 1.1 million followers every month, which is insane if you just think about it. Like, if you're into like social media marketing, like if he could just probably stop being an actor, just be an influencer, and he would just get all the monies. Probably not as much money as Fast 10 is going to get him, but regardless, I just find that stuff interesting. But yeah, he did 8 posts. He can
combine the two. He can have his jeggings ads on Instagram, and just he can wear them in the movie.
Jeggings. I can't see him wearing jeggings. He's definitely a Wrangler guy or a Levi's.
Did you hear that they found the oldest pair of Levi's in a coal mine?
Yeah, that's a thing that like,
and they look like a normal pair today.
Some people collect like old clothing.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Like the oldest pair of jeans.
And also, it's like good for your brand. Think about that as well. Like our brand lasts 150 years in a mine.
If you look at that photo too, they look like they're in good condition. That's like excellent. They should just make that headline the ad.
Yeah,
and they still look like their current type of how they make them with the buttons and how the pockets are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
how about them jeans? Yeah, so there's 8 posts they did on Instagram. In the meantime, there was a couple actually after we recorded in October. Like there was one video he did where he was announcing he made a TikTok, and he was influenced by the other TikTokers that he did a video with, which I did talk about last episode. Mm-hmm. He also gives a shout out to the Peoples for his nominations for the People's Choice Awards. He also is wearing like this Witcher, Jesus Christ. Last Witch Hunter. I wish he was wearing a Witcher shirt. That would have lost my mind. Last Witch Hunter shirt. That looks kind of badass. I wish I had it. But it's like his classic white tank top that he got going on. But in that video, I just thought it was cool. But anyways, in November itself, he has your usual stuff. On November 1st, he posted a picture of him and a lion. It said "Happy Creative." That's his go-to tagline that we've seen before. One post here I thought was really cool though was from November 2nd. It's a photo that's near Times Square, it looks like. And it has his album covers or his single covers on there. And the caption,
I saw that.
And his caption was, "Happy Monday, everyone. I wanted to share a pic that someone sent to me from my hometown, New York. I'm feeling pretty emotional because a picture of the second single is a picture taken the year my father took me to my first Times Square movie. It was a film called Uptown Saturday Night, directed by Sidney Poitier. Anyway, the thought that someday I would also have movies showing in Times Square was always a dream. I inspired from the age of 7. What I didn't think would ever be possible was that I would actually be able to sing for the world. Because you're all so damn supportive of everything I do, I was able to turn a year of quarantine into a year of magic. Great, Jesus. How do you say that word again in Spanish?
Gracias.
Gracias. My Rochester accent's poking in there. Really giving me a hard time. Thank you for always believing in me. I hope my life makes yours better. All love always. Hashtag days are gone. Hashtag feel like I do. Hashtag smile."
I forgot that was the name of his song. For a second, I thought he was repping the Sony game.
Yeah, Days Gone. He really loves that game. He had a couple other posts. He had a post for Fast 9 with Michelle Rodriguez. Photo of his mom where he says, "Mama's boy, proud of it, all love always." That was cute. He posted someone's TikTok of them dancing to this song. And then most recently, there's a picture of him looking swole. He has a towel around his neck. Maybe he just got done working out. And he has the prayer emoji as the caption. Other than that, that's it for him on Instagram. But we got some big news in the actual articles and the news section of Google. So recently, November 9th, there was rumors that a Bloodshot sequel is in the works officially, and that the people who made the movie said that actually it did pretty well considering COVID, and in 2 weeks they quickly went to a on-demand format.
Got $40 from us,
and it earned $33.48 million at the worldwide box office on a reported production budget of $45 million. So, like, I guess that they saw enough in the revenue that they're like, hey, we can make a sequel.
Like we've said, like, COVID is an easy excuse for why your movie failed. You know, then you can oh, we'll just do it again. Yeah,
which maybe this is the timeline that for a Bloodshot sequel that it needed. Maybe an alternate universe, there's no COVID and there is no Bloodshot sequel. Who knows?
Vin Diesel made a wish on a monkey's paw.
Yeah, and Jesus, that's fucked up to think about. They're like, and the cost of 200,000 people's lives. But yeah, Bloodshot sequel in the works, and there's also rumors that he's set to be Groot again in Thor: Love and Thunder. That is
really,
that he'll probably be in it as well. So I guess you can add that to our list in the next 3 years if we make it that far. Because it definitely these rumors probably seem legit anyways too. So I mean, the only one that I feel like that's maybe not is Groot, but like that's something like that's such an easy thing for him to do probably in a day or two. Just go in there and be like, say Groot like 5 times in different ways.
Right.
So I don't think he does like mocap or anything with anybody or whatnot for scenes. I don't think, right? I think Groot is just.
I think he's just in a sound booth.
Or is Big Groot in there? Because I know like Groot gets bigger. Was he?
Well, he's a teenager in the Avengers: Infinity War.
I'm saying for Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Yeah, well, all I know is that James Gunn did the mocap for Baby Groot dancing at the beginning of the second movie. So to me, that suggests that there's just a mocap person,
and then he like just does the voice,
like a stuntman or whatever, and he's just a voice.
I mean, Vin is pretty big too. I feel like Groot is big, but he's not like swole like Vin is. So I feel like it would definitely not.
Yeah,
it'd be harder for them to do. So they probably just have someone who kind of fits that shape of a tree.
I'm sure it would. Yeah,
we'll find out when we get closer. We'll probably get more information on all that. But other than that, that is really it for Vin news. Oh, and he made a TikTok. I think I said that earlier, but yeah, he made a TikTok. I'm not following it, but okay. I'll keep an eye out. See if anything pops up on there. I think it's just fun, goofy Vin stuff. So if you're into that, go check out his TikTok. #ad.
There we go. Well, thank you, Devin, for our trip into the future. Let's go back into the past of 2003 for the movie titled A Man Apart. Directed by F. Gary Gray, which was very hard for me to type out because I thought I was typing it wrong the whole time. It's Gary Gray. Director of the movie also did, as a director, the 2003 reboot of The Italian Job. That was the movie he did right before this one. As well as in recent years, he directed Straight Outta Compton.
Okay.
The Fate of the Furious.
Ooh.
And Men in Black International, which I heard was like, okay, but still like a big movie, which
that
is
makes
a
lot
big
of sense now.
deal for him. Yeah, so he did The Fate of the Furious.
Interesting.
Which is, we'll eventually get there, but like when we watch these movies on our own, we think that's the best one. So we'll see. Produced by Tucker Tooley, who did just a bunch of movies that made some money. None of them are important to say.
Isn't that the job of producer at the end of the day? It's just make movies that make money.
I mean, yeah, and they were probably like a profit of 2 million kind of type of movies. Tucker Tooley, Vincent Newman, Joey Nitello, not Nitella, Nitolo, Joey Nitolo. Those two people didn't really do much of anything, and Vin Diesel is a producer on here. I don't really know for what reason. My assumption is mostly like a part of the paycheck he got was also like you get that kind of credit on there. I'm sure he negotiated for some of it, because as we'll see later with Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious, he's a negotiator. He got he knows how to talk. Budget of $36 million. How much money do you think that this movie made?
Budget of $6 million, 2003.
36 million.
36 million, 2003. Man, I don't know. This is one of those like action, not action, but like action drama films that I feel like that were really popular in this time. So part of me is guessing like it's got to be at least 200 mil, but that feels high though. So I'm feeling like 120.
44.3 million.
What?
So higher than 36, and I would definitely
Still
say
an
that
L.
would be a success. But it's higher. I don't know. It's definitely not 100.
I just keep my brain is so Avengers, on its mind.
Well, I mean,
so
we last month for episode 60 of Sonic Movie Show, we did a Resident Evil movie, and they made 120. So I guess to be fair, yeah, compared to that, this was definitely low, but it still made.
If you're not making
million.
double, I feel like it's an L. Like at least nowadays, it is.
Oh, for sure. Well, if you're not making 10 times as much, it's an L. Avengers Endgame and Infinity War combined made like 100.
They can buy
buy
a foreign country or third world country.
So now I'll get. There's really no real trivia and info for this movie, so I'll get them out of the way right now. This movie was originally titled, while they were in production of it, called Diablo, because of their main threat. But they decided to not go with that title because there's a popular video game series that was called Diablo that had Diablo 2 was like a year or two before this movie, so they decided not to.
They didn't want people to think. But I guess if you're doing a trailer, people would be like, okay, this isn't Diablo.
they chose not to. I don't think that the Blizzard even went after them. I think they just chose not to. And then this was also published, or movie house was New Line Cinema, which also did Knockaround Guys, which we did for episode 7, so 2 episodes ago. Just like Knockaround Guys, this movie was also shelved for about a year until Vin Diesel did Triple X. And they said, oh shit, we can release this movie because we can bank it off of that. So this was like a twofer with
and it still didn't make that much, though, unfortunately.
I mean, it probably could have made less if they released it before Triple X.
I wonder if like this movie came out now. I always wonder that. Any of these movies we're watching now, if they just came out now. But I guess you say we have the argument with Bloodshot, but we really don't know because Bloodshot got hit with the pandemic. That we really don't know. But they're making a sequel to that, so.
How much money did that 21 Bridges movie do with Chadwick Boseman? I think that's a really good like parallel.
Let me look.
because that would be like my thing, because like I didn't see that movie, but it's the same kind of thing of like someone who is on the up and up in terms of mainstream public eye doing a movie that is just a
did worse.
crime. Did worse than 44.
Oh, sorry, did worse than 44. Sorry, it's still bad. 49.9 million worldwide.
Yeah. So I mean, there we go then.
28.5 million in the United States and Canada.
What was its budget? Its box office is 49. A Man Apart
33 million.
Okay, so it had a better turnout than A Man Apart then.
But still, like, that was so
yeah
close together.
Yep. See, that was a good parallel. I'm glad I brought it up. And just like the past few movies, Vin Diesel just auditioned for this. Like, especially with Knockaround Guys, New Line Cinema, like, there's not really and then they discovered him, and I guess it was also Steven Spielberg went to the Cannes Film Festival and found him there again. So we're starting to lose that kind of, like, snowballing narrative. Now it's just he's an actor that is able to book films. So, let's begin. So after a lengthy opening credit sequence, Vin Diesel informs us that Trump's wall was meant to keep Mexico safe from us, apparently.
Yeah, so much, 20 tons a day, they said. So much cocaine. Flooding our streets. Well, man, I wonder who the buyers
the war
are.
On drugs, yeah. But it's in recent months, so the war on drugs has been won by the drugs, so that's good.
Yeah.
Reagan is rolling in his grave, but at the same time, he shouldn't deserve a grave.
I want to say, though, the opening, like you said, it was long, but it also felt like every other early 2000s movie. It's like you could have put this and just changed, like, the title to Triple X, and I've been like, yes, this is the same.
Yeah.
Like, this is the
an
same
HBO movie. Sean, a.k.a. Vin Diesel, goes into detail about the cocaine smuggling operation going on, and we cut to him and his squad beginning a raid in Tijuana, which I learned from this movie is in Mexico. I knew it was obviously in South America. Mexico's in North America, but I knew it was, south of us. But now I know it's in Mexico. They start to nab everyone, but the cartel leader is getting away. Sean is in pursuit and catches up to them as they escape in a taxi, and he gets him.
There was one scene right before that I wanted to point out, where it was, we don't know at the time, but it was Demetrius getting a call from one of the dealers in Mexico saying, like, they're using, like, code words to be like, I want a pizza. The pizza is 10 kilotons or whatever it is of cocaine, and that's where the setup really starts. But I didn't pick up on it until we see him again. I'm like, oh, he was in on it. That was cool.
Yeah. And then we watch. It's always they always do these in these big mob gangster movies where there's like a strip club and like the leader dances with the stripper or whatever, or with the beautiful woman. And it's like, you're just a disgusting old man. Like, you're the only person having fun seeing this.
Yeah, like,
right
I have to
now.
be like, I know we all have like our own like stripper next to us, and it's cool and all, but like, we're only watching you. Like, why don't we just all, like, we know what we're doing here, so like, can we all just go to our separate rooms then at this point?
Like she's not excited about this. She's just making money or like not dying. Whatever her reason for doing this is, not because of you.
Yeah.
So it was.
But
a
hey,
little corny,
that's how my wedding's gonna be. I'm just gonna invite a bunch of strippers, and I'm just gonna dance with them in front of everybody. It's gonna be really fun for everybody.
So this movie is rated R.
Is it?
Yes, because of the boobs and the violence. Apparently there's like a rating above R.
Yeah,
something. That's not X. That's not X rated. Something above that. And there's one more piece of trivia we'll get to later that they had to edit some stuff to make it not go up to that high. And I thought just the fact that there's like several naked women that you just see. And it's not like a brief thing.
You have ass cheeks.
I figured that would have
ass cheeks and thongs or G-strings. So I mean, I guess.
But they put a couple hats on women later in the movie, so therefore that balances it out. It's the hominess, and then there's the hoiness. With the job done, Sean tries to ask to go home, and we cut to his wife making candles, because that's what white women do in California. And it's like a cute scene. Like, they make it seem as if he wasn't able to go home, so that when he's on the phone with her, we don't realize that he's sneaking up. But at first, it took me a while to realize that was him and not someone already killing her. I'm like, damn,
because
like,
I did know.
really
Yeah, I did read the plot
gun.
before I went in that like he's on a revenge. He's seeking revenge for his dead wife. So I'm like, oh, she's gonna die like right away. They're not even gonna like build that up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh wow, there's someone already here. Like they were so quick to like, oh, we know who it is. We know who killed or arrested our dude. We need to go kill his wife.
I mean, you've seen plenty of movies like this, and I have as well, where like you just know that's what's gonna happen, even without having to read the plot. You knew she was gonna die,
or
especially
she get
later.
Kidnapped or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I had the same thing too. I'm like, damn, they're doing it already. Oh wait, it's him. And that's where you're line. What are you wearing? I'm just like, a shirt.
What are you wearing?
So they embrace, and it's all cool and stuff.
If we ever if we ever get Vin Diesel on here, that's one of the lines I want him to say for us. What are you wearing, baby? Like I just need to hear that again.
Okay. 2 months later, we're at a celebratory press conference about how the war on drugs is over for good, and that no one else will be filling the void. As we hear all this, we see another cartel, stereotypically named Diablo, filling the void.
Yeah,
it is.
They take over like a plane, with a bunch of coke.
Yeah,
and they murder a lot of people.
This reminded me of the Tom Cruise movie, which name I forgot, but it was in recent years, where it is based off a real story about during the Reagan era war on drugs or whatever. He was a drug smuggling pilot that works with the FBI to bust what's his name, the big famous cartel leader.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember the name.
But yeah, and like it's all about them and how he does it. And the press conference reminded me of, because this is a press conference, they're saying it to the world. Reagan does the press conference at the end and blows Tom Cruise's cover. His cover was never blown. The bad guys never knew who he was, or let the fact that it was him that was that gun. And Reagan does it on national television, and Tom Cruise's character dies because of that. So fuck Reagan again. You killed Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is alive. Just let everyone know he's still alive.
Yes. Hopefully he doesn't get COVID. In prison, the old cartel leader, whose name I never actually bothered to look up.
It was Mimo Lucero. Was that his name?
Yeah, that's right. Memo. Yeah. I refer to him as old cartel leader, but I think it's easier to know him as that. But Memo is slipped a very noticeable phone through newspaper and calls his crew on an update of their replacement, Diablo. It's obviously a deal made with the CIA, as they're listening in on the call. However, the most important line is not given a subtitle, and the call ends. And I hate this. Like, and I'm watching this on HBO Max. You did too. I actually had to boot up my PS4 because the PS5 doesn't have an HBO Max app on it yet.
We get it. You have the PS5.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm holding the controller right now. I can't let it go. The subtitles say speaks in foreign language.
What?
It's Spanish. Come on. Can you not be as white bread as it gets? It's Spanish. You subtitled in the movie
American. That's all
Spanish.
I know. That's all I know.
Like we've mentioned this a few times in either this podcast or, a preview or Sonic movie show itself. Like, I hate when they say speaks in foreign language. Like, okay, yes, we know the characters are not supposed to know what they say.
Or we're not supposed to know.
The audience isn't either, you know, like, I think it was in Triple X that they did this. It's like, come on. Just subtitle. Be smarter about your writing. You know what I mean? Just, especially because, like, Spanish is, like, the second or third most commonly spoken language in the world. This isn't
a lot of people speak weird Spanish in the United States, but we just don't recognize it as such for some reason. Like, in a perfect world, we all should know Spanish growing up, I think, but...
Yeah, and Chinese. And I understand if that seems offensive to some people to say you should probably learn Chinese, but, like, screw you. Like... But it is weird though that like he's secretly handed this phone, but obviously it's not secret because it's a deal he's making with them. They don't say that, but like it's obvious.
I wonder if they're trying to say
deal.
Like this was supposed to be.
Is it because there are prisoners around? They don't want to see that. But like, I'm sorry, you put him in a different cell.
He felt like he was in the one too that was like right near the front door, so like everyone could see him too. Like there's a lot of traffic going through here. It wasn't like he was in the back in the second corridor or something. Like no, he was in like the front door, like near the
this
check-in.
Looks like a military grade GPS or satellite phone.
Yeah.
But it's just this big thick like antenna on there.
Here's like I don't know too if they're trying to say that like they're trying to show the corruption too. If they were trying to go that route, they didn't do a good job of it. But yeah, it was really weird that like he tried to hide it, but also it's like super noticeable at the same time. Like, and they're listening in on it, which they never ever talk about again.
They don't say
too much.
Again, like they do it twice. Whenever they see him on the phone, like they always show that he's being listened to. And the assumption I have in this first scene is he's making a deal for protection of his wife and kid, or you know what I mean, that kind of like. I've never interacted with a cartel in my life.
You haven't,
and so
it's a great experience. I would highly recommend
movie,
it.
TV, documentaries help paint a picture of what I feel like it's like, Breaking Bad, etc. But to me, I always am under the impression that this leader probably, if he was caught in real life, would be like, "Fuck everyone else in my cartel. I'll do whatever it takes to get my wife and kid safe. Fuck them all. Fuck everyone else. Who gives a shit?" That was my impression. So that when I'm watching this, I'm like, he's probably doing a deal for his family or something for safety. He knows he's never getting out, but his kid can maybe not be in prison or something.
Yeah, or sold to a gang or something. I don't know.
He'd just be protected into America or something, so he's not going to get murdered. But it is weird. The most important line is not given a subtitle. It's written. They're speaking Spanish. The CIA knows Spanish.
I would hope, unless they're just
the people
not doing
listening
their job.
in on that call know Spanish. Obviously, because why else would they be on the phone line? So, like, it's not like he's
like, shit, sir, he's speaking Spanish. Fuck, get the dictionary out, or the translated dictionary out. We gotta do this
because I guess we learn late in this movie that he's secretly behind the whole Diablo thing the whole time, and so. Yes, his main man there, whose name I don't remember, maybe he doesn't even have a name on there, but his right-hand man is operating, doing all this stuff on behest of Memo, the old cartel dude. But, like, was this non-subtitled line a direction in that regard? And if so, that's terrible writing because it's in the same language you subtitled everything else in that the CIA is listening to. It's dumb.
Well, wasn't the one guy he was calling too was the producer in Borat?
Was he?
Yeah, the big guy who gets shot near the fountain. Eventually, well, he's only in it. He was also at the strip club scene really briefly.
Was he talking to him, or was he talking to the skinny guy that Vin Diesel eventually kills at the very end?
That's what I was thinking. At some point, he does call him. I don't remember exactly where, but I do remember. I'm like, oh, that's the big dude from Borat.
Interesting.
And this was around the same time Borat came out in 2004, so around the same time.
After a quick scene of the cartel's leader's main man, which is who you're talking about, getting murdered, we're at a party at Sean's house. With all the cops.
By the way,
friend...
I want to say too, his beach house. We didn't talk about it before, but now I just remembered his beach house is like it's always a beach house for Vin. And he has that IRL based off his Instagram. Yeah, my Instagram research of him. He does have a nice beach house, and in Fast and the Furious too, he's on a beach house in like Hawaii or wherever it was. I just find it funny that in all these movies he somehow gets a beach house. Maybe that's where the producer role comes in. He's like, look. My character is gonna have a beach house, and like I don't want a really nice apartment in New York City or something or L.A. No, it has to be on a beach somewhere. Isn't it supposed to be in like L.A.? I don't know where that is, but definitely is a nice property.
So yeah, it's a big cop party at his place. And a new friend is introduced to us. His name is Big Sexy.
Hell yeah.
And he is not with the cops. And he clearly is involved with some sort of drug dealing at some point, which is awkward.
I like how they introduced him though. He's like smoking a cigar, and Vince is like, "I told you not to smoke, dude. Like, stop smoking." And he's like, "Oh, my bad." And he like just puts it like on the side window or whatever it was. Like,
yeah.
Instead
like
of just
the pillar.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why they do that, Devin, is to help show how Vin Diesel how Sean has lost it when they show him smoking on the beach later.
True.
That's why.
Look at that. See, good pickup, sir. Good film analysis.
Thank you. He's only shown smoking.
Put on
twice,
movie details on
towards the
subreddit,
very
dude.
end.
You gotta or on the Reddit.
I hate, by the way, when just because you can notice what you consider a cliche or a story writing usage doesn't make it bad. Like, I feel like there'd be people that would see it, they'd be like, "Oh, look how lazy this writing is." Like, no, just because you were able to pick up on it doesn't make it bad. Does everything need to be this mystical, uncertain thing that just wows you? It's like,
if anything, like that's good. It should be digestible. If you make it too complicated,
right.
Then your movie's confusing.
Exactly. Or it says that you're just a bad critic if the things you think are good are things you can't understand at all.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of too when I saw it. I'm like, oh, I guarantee there is reviews or fucking YouTubers watching this old movie being like, oh, look at how bad it is. He's smoking, even though he said not to smoke.
How ironic.
His wife is dead.
Yeah. I also do like Big Sexy's bling that just says sexy.
That's probably why they call him Big Sexy.
Yeah, I loved it though. I love his character throughout this movie.
Yeah. You gotta love his commitment to Madden 03.
Was that what the one was? I couldn't tell.
This movie came out in 2003, and the grave on his wife's that says 2003. I'm assuming it's 2003
or Madden 02. One of those at least.
Yeah. So yeah, we're at the Big Sexy is introduced, and they all ogle a woman as married men. All three of them are married men.
Hell yeah, brother!
Even Big Sexy because he has a kid. The new cartel is beginning their operation, and the leader looks to be like a gringo. Obviously, we learn later he's not Diablo, but when they said, I'm like, oh, okay, that is a smart idea. If you're like a white man trying to take over, you would pick a very stereotypical, Mexican bad guy name to help blend in. I get it. But I hate that guy. This guy, I hate this. This character is a good. You want to hate him. Like,
are you talking about Hollywood Jack?
Hollywood Jack, yeah. That night, Sean's house is raided, and his wife is fatally wounded and dies. And it is very sad. I
was gonna say, what do you think?
We barely see them together, but
what do you think of the scene though? Like in terms of from the beginning of it, where the
that's
assassins,
your twist.
Yeah, the assassins come in. I will say though, I don't. First off, I was like, dude always carries a gun next to his bed. I don't know. Like, I get like he was prepared, but at the same time, it's like there might be a correlation between having a gun in your bed and you know that you must be doing a lot of shitty things to other people to warrant you keeping a gun near your bed if you feel that unsafe. I don't know, but
yeah.
I was gonna say though,
I thought like the scene itself was executed, decently well. I wouldn't say it was bad by any means. I was frustrated with him not talking to the 911 operator. Like, I get it, you probably want to have a moment with your wife who's dying, but like,
I took that more as like shock, or like
yeah. But like,
it's like getting in a car crash and you're just kind of dazed for a second. Where you're like, that happened to me when I got in my car crash. The roadside assistant
officer,
the roadside assistant, like popped up on the radio saying, "Hey, Devin, we see you've been in a crash," or whatever. Or I think it said my mom's name because it was driving her car. I remember it popped up, and I'm just like, I was so like out of it that I was just like, "Oh yeah, I think I am in one." Hold up, it's smoking. I have to get out of here. I don't want it to blow up on. I literally said that. I don't want it to blow up on me. Because I was thinking of Grand Theft Auto. If the car's smoking, that means it's about to blow. God. So I get kind of the whole thing of like he didn't know what to say. He's just kind of like shocked that it's happening.
But he's a DEA officer, so
trauma.
He's got a little bit more training. But so Sean wakes up in a hospital and learns his wife died. Demetrius is there, and he tells Sean that he's been out for a while. And I think they try to show it by having his facial hair be long, but they still shaved his head. His hair is still short. So I was a bit confused. Did they not want to like tack on the stuff on his head in the costume?
I don't know.
To make him long?
Well, I think he actually grew.
I think
he grew his beard, I think.
Before this, it was very short, if any at all. And then later in the movie, once he's getting ready to fight back, he does, do some artistry where he keeps like a goatee and shaves, like the neck and sides and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But here it is all just out long, but his hair is still like as short as it was before. So like, was someone grooming him?
I don't know. I will say though, I did like this scene a lot. I feel like, I haven't seen every single movie, obviously, but I feel like a lot of movies in these kind of situations, especially from a dude to another dude, like Vin was at his lowest, or Sean's at his lowest, and he's coming to the realization that his wife is dead. And I also appreciate that Demetrius's character was there every night and slept there when like some people wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even like best friends might not do that, because of.
I'm not doing that for you.
Thanks. But I appreciate.
I'll send a task rabbit to deliver you flowers.
I'd be like, don't even send me fucking flowers at that point, bro.
I would understand if you would not be friends with me ever again. I hired someone $18 an hour to just hand you flowers.
That's funny, but no, I did like this scene.
Sorry, man, I'm streaming.
And I like this stream because, I like this stream. I like the scene because it was more of like I don't want to say man-to-man kind of thing, but it's more just like, I'm here for you and I'm here for your emotional support. And I like how he like hugged him too when like Vin kind of broke, like just Vin just like went. I will say Vin, I think, acted this well where he just
hug / making sure he doesn't get out of the bed.
Yeah. But like just like frustration, panic, all that. I think Vin did a great job of that scene. And then I think Demetrius also, or the actor's name is Lorenz Tate, did a great job of like showing that like, oh, like these guys have known each other for a while, like they're blood brothers. You know what I mean? Where he's like, yeah, this fucking sucks. I'm here for you. I've been sleeping here for when you wake up, to try to help you to the best of my abilities. And we see this throughout the whole entire movie where like, even at points where I'm like, how haven't you not stepped away, Demetrius, when you know this man is crazy at this point and he still comes back? But this is the first real instance where we see like their connection, and we don't. I don't think we see this too often with like men, because men are tough and blah 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 and media, especially I feel like in early 2000s, you don't get to see that kind of emotion as much from these big men characters.
Sure. Yep, I agree with you. And it must have been a pretty strong bond too, because hospitals don't just let people bring a bed into the room and sleep there.
Usually, yeah.
What'd you say the actor's name was? Lorenz Tate?
Lorenz Tate, yeah.
Lorenz Tate. He's been in a lot of TV shows. A lot of them. Even Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as well. And recent stuff too. So he's not been in a lot of movies, but he's been acting still. After visiting his wife's grave and beach drinking, this is where we see him smoking the cigarette, Sean goes to the prison that the old cartel leader Memo is being held. Basically to be like, you killed my wife. It's that kind of like,
you killed my wife. Or you killed my wife's dog, or whatever. What did John Wick say? Whatever.
Oh yeah, you killed my dog.
What if they did the exact line and we realized John Wick was just a copy of this movie? I would be like, wait a minute, Keanu, what did you do?
But to be fair, John Wick never says that. It's like the dad of the kid that killed John Wick's dog yelling at him, you killed this fucking dog. That was a good movie. We should just pretend Vin Diesel's in that movie so we can watch it.
Man, a Keanu Reeves Vin Diesel film would be interesting. And like if we do like an action movie. Triple X and John Wick meet. There you go. There's your Freddy versus Jason. Get on that. Why not?
And I want to, like, it's revealed at the very end that Memo was Diablo. This whole thing was just him so he can get out, organized. He definitely fucking played Sean like a fucking fiddle.
Wait, so you think? Because they make it seem at the end that he also knew that if he got out, he had a plan to stop. Like, if it was a double crossing.
Yeah, that was a very lame ending. I thought it wasn't going to go that way. I kind of wish it didn't go that way. But we'll get there at the end. After that, Sean begins his work to find his wife's killer. He meets up with Big Sexy, who is playing Madden 03 at his house and yelling at his teenage son or whatever not to drink milk out of the fucking carton. Who does that?
I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny. Like, he's like, dude, get a goddamn glass or whatever. Just
right.
like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? But they're picking up Big Sexy because he knows more about the drug world than DEA agents. That night, they begin following the trail. And it's very cute seeing a little Chihuahua find.
That was hilarious. I was not expecting that. They're like,
I liked that.
They're like, he's like, go get out there, and then they just all of a sudden this little Chihuahua comes out, and you can tell Vin is pissed or Sean is pissed because he's sitting in the car like, oh, I want to find the information as fast as possible, running out of time, and like they're doing
this is not how it works.
Yeah, and he's just it's not like a big canine. It's just the smallest dog possible running around, and it starts yelling at it starts barking at that one car, and they're like, okay, that's where the cocaine is, or whatever.
Well, the dog even poses. You probably trained that dog to pose like that. Yep. And so that trail leads them. The trail leads them to a house with several dead bodies, with carvings of Diablo on their back, and they're all hogtied with barbed wire and like tortured.
It's one thing to see like. I feel like this is a little bit different from other movies we've seen in this kind of situation too, because we've seen stuff like this before. We're like, oh wow, they're executing people to keep people quiet, right? And it's always just like in the back of the head.
Yeah.
But this is like Silent Hill. Back to one of our previous episodes.
This is to
barbed
send
wire
a message, but to who?
Yeah, it was more than just like an execution. It was just like to me,
this almost feels like, don't you dare deal drugs. We're Diablo. We don't like the drug dealers.
I don't know.
But buy from us. We do learn later he fucked with them because he didn't want to pay as much as they wanted. But to me, that sends like a weirdly wrong message. They do find though that there is one guy hiding in the attic, and I don't blame this guy for just shooting down below. If he watched or heard what had happened down there to his friends or crewmates, whatever you want to call it, we don't even know if he's specifically the head honcho of their little group.
I think he was just one. I think because they made it seem like he was just
he was, I guess, on the phone with them, but like, who knows if it was necessarily like, I'm the leader, or like we're all just this is a co-op or something.
Yeah,
a cocaine co-op.
Yeah,
but like, I don't blame that guy for just unloading down there, and good on Demetrius, did a good job there of calming him down.
I will say,
does the stereotypical black cop speaking to gangbanger, like I used to be just like you, and I decided to join the pigs.
Yeah, which I was kind of like, community. I'm like, yes,
yes and no.
But I will say though, regardless of I guess you can say the politics of that conversation, he already, like, granted they shot at the ceiling too, but all things considered, they tried their best to de-escalate it, or at least Demetrius did.
He's a good mediator in that sense.
Yeah, and like in a perfect world, that's, I think, how people want cops to be like, but 9 times out of 10 they probably go in that attic and just go guns blazing. So like, and he trusted him. He could have easily been shot, and like he would have been shot, and probably Vin would have got him, the shooter as well. But like Demetrius probably would have been fatally shot, I would have guessed. And he just put so much trust in that he's like, I trusted my voice to reason with them. And even after that though, then this is when we start seeing Sean being kind of a dick. Like Sean needs to be cool-headed. It seemed like, or at least they hinted at that
very briefly. But yeah, and
then all of a sudden now he's like, definitely not being a cop anymore. Like
he's just using his resources to get revenge for his wife.
Yeah. And even Demetrius is like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? And like he says that a lot throughout this film. But it was like one of the first moments where he's like, dude, you can't like point a gun at a guy's head that we just saved.
Yeah, because he's playing. Well, I'll say it in a second here. But like Sean and his friend Sean and Demetrius pull that guy downstairs, and as the cops are there to look over the Silent Hill house, as you say, Sean goes a little nutso and makes the dude play Russian roulette. So like you're saying, like that is like what's Sean's end game there? If he shoots the guy in front of the other cops, you know what I mean? Like you're done. That's murder.
Yeah,
because this guy's incapacitated. He's arrested, I'm sure. If not, like in the process of that, like you can't, you know what I mean? That's not interrogation if you kill the person. So they learn that the name Hollywood Jack from that guy through that process, and they trace it to that white dude we saw running the drug operation. He's at a salon, and he's a douchebag, and Sean pulls him over and goes to town, but it's all for nothing. And this is like what you're saying, where like Demetrius has to be like, yo, dude, what the fuck, you need to stop. But to be honest, there's very few times where I want to see just like an abuse of police power, and that's one. Or like, I actually do want him to just beat the fuck out of him.
Like, I like how too they're like, do we have anything on this guy like at all? And they're like, oh, he jaywalked once. Like that was the only thing they had on him, really, outside of like Vin being like, we know he's involved because his name's Hollywood Jack. This guy said his name. How else would he know? I do like that scene though. There's a lot of good scenes in this movie. At least I think so. Like, and this is one of them where like you can just tell Vin is frustrated, and Hollywood Jack is just being an asshole to be an asshole, and he knows he can get away with it. But this is one of the few times, like you said, where like instead of probably Sean in the past would be like, okay, whatever, we'll get him next time for something. Right. He'll break eventually. No, instead he just uses brute force and just slams his head against like the steering wheel and stuff in front of everybody. And that's when Demetrius comes in. It's like, dude, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's assault.
Even there's even like a real kind of hint of how police work in real life. Where Demetrius like he could be filming us. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people here, a lot of witnesses, and we do see that later on when Sean kills someone and Demetrius makes it look like it was an accident or something. But we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yep. Yep. Or not an accident. Looks like he was just killed by another cop.
Rather, yes.
During the shootout. He covers for him. But meanwhile, during all this, the old cartel leader, Memo's wife and kid are killed. And so now this goes back to I don't know. We don't see too much of Memo throughout this movie to really set up that he is the ruthless cartel leader.
They definitely humanize him.
That's their twist, is that he wasn't a humanized person. He was a ruthless person that was willing to kill his wife and kid.
To make this setup look legitimate.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Which is fucked. It's cool. I don't hate that the twist was, no, it was the guy you had the whole time just trying to get out. They don't do too much with that afterwards. Like that whole ending kind of epilogue really sucked, in my opinion. It could have been a lot better. But it's scenes like this where, like, in hindsight, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like that's actually like it's pretty dope. About how they set up, and even like they really made it look like no one there even knew about it at all. Obviously, the two guards or whatever in the car wouldn't have signed up to being killed in the car bomb. You know what I mean? Oh, you guys get in the car. We need to grab some paperwork or something. Then you blow it up.
You grab my Coke out of the fridge.
Exactly.
Press this big red button instead.
Exactly. Memo calls Vin to visit him, and he gives Vin a new lead on how to find Diablo. And I hate that this new lead is simply just something that the DEA, you know, their job is to bust drug dealers and stuff. The idea is just, oh, buy Coke. Yeah, okay. Do we really need you to tell us? You know what I mean? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Or, like, I guess, you know, fuck the DEA for just not thinking about doing that. But, yeah, that's his lead. So the plan is to buy a bunch of Coke. So they meet up with a dealer that calls Sean the F word and makes a deal. And this, again, Sean, like you said, is flying off the handle here.
Like,
but to be fair, if anyone calls me the F word, I'll be pissed off as well. So
I mean, in that situation, once again, this goes back to, despite there being that cool scene where it was man to man, brotherly love, there's moments of classic toxic masculinity in early 2000s films.
You could argue that you could be like, it's hard to tell if the character of Sean was offended at the idea of being called gay or being called the F word. You know what I mean? Like,
Not saying
I would like
I'm
to
saying,
assume.
I'm saying both I think are bad. You know, like both you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
But
matter.
like, but then if Vin's response to that is Vin's response to the offense of being called the F word of like, hey, you can't do that.
Oh yeah,
you're fucking
it's
up.
kind of hard.
Then
to
that's
tell,
different than, well, you call me gay. You know what I mean?
Well, the only
But
reason
yeah,
I think it
hard
is
to tell.
the first one, calling him gay, is because the stripper comes
Era.
over, wants to give him a lap dance free of charge, and he's like, "Get away from me," basically, and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, I'm giving you free. Like, I usually get paid for this," and like, I think he could have easily just said, "My wife just died. I ain't horny right now."
Honestly, I wish he would have said that. But I mean, you go back to Vin Diesel's second movie there, Multifacial, where he does that monologue. And it's a very offensive, homophobic monologue, and he's like upset at the fact that he had to do that. I always kind of keep that in the back of my mind whenever any of these unfortunate scenes come up. In
I don't think the
movies.
scene is on, like, this scene could have happened, like, if this movie came out today and nothing changed,
It would have been fine.
It would have been fine. It's just it's just something that we could have talked about, whether or not it is it because he's gay, or is it because, hey, you just called me a slur regardless of my sexual orientation? You're just kind of a douche move, sir.
Exactly.
After I'm making a deal with you. But to be fair, Vin was also kind of being a douche to him the entire time, being like, nope, it needs to be lower, it needs to be lower, it needs to be lower. When, like, you're just trying to get drugs. Like, it shouldn't really matter too much how much you're getting it for, but...
Yeah. But also, it's part of the cover making it seem legitimate.
True, I guess.
You know, why, you know, but, in any case, after briefing the DEA, which the briefing was simply, we're going to do the thing, not any actual information about what they're about to do, which is weird. It's like, yeah, that's why the guy was reading the newspaper. You told him everything that they were going to do already.
Yeah.
Now it's just a pep talk. But after that, Sean begins to make the deal. It goes south when he learns he's trading keys with the guy that killed his wife. And this is what's confusing to me. So, when his wife is murdered, did one guy get away?
Yeah, the one guy.
I thought he killed.
There was two guys. There's two gunmen. That's what.
I guess I just assumed he shot them both.
He shot one of them, and the other one ran away. And that's why he was like, when he went outside, he like looked above him, looked to the left and right, and he wasn't there, so he knew he left.
Okay.
And he tried to get information from the one guy he shot, and he was dead.
Right. But he's trading keys with the guy that killed his wife, and Sean beats him up. This is the scene that would have made the movie go above R, because they edited out this elongated. Apparently it was like 10 seconds. Like teeth and shit were flying out of this man's face as he pummeled his face in.
That would have been kind of cool, though. I mean, it was still pretty brutal, like, regardless of all that. I would say that, like, I was cringing. I'm like, fuck. Like, Vin is going to town on this dude's face. Like, I think he smashed it against, like, the cement.
The man was
street.
dying. Like, he was, you know. But a crooked cop, a car explosion, several people die, and the dealer gets away.
I like how everyone was undercover, and, like, the cops had people undercover, and then the dealer had people undercover. And it was all these various different types of people, all of a sudden just pulling out, like, Uzis and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of funny, though. And despite this, like, dramatic thing that Vin is going through, all these people are like, you know, someone looked like they just were going out for brunch or going to their local Aldi's. All of a sudden it's just like, I got an AK. And I'm just unloading it on random people. I don't even know who they're shooting at half the time. They're just, like, blowing up cars and stuff. Whatever. It was a crazy shootout. Still a nuts scene, though. And then that's also where Demetrius sees that Sean killed someone, or killed the dude who killed his wife. So he shot him twice in the chest and then cleaned the gun off and put it next to the cop, the crooked cop.
The crooked cop.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, like, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about Memo in the jail cell and corruption, we don't see any obvious indication of corruption until here when the cop pulls a gun on John.
I think it was
it's like being signaled to.
Well, they said on like their, because they gave us like what Sean could hear, like in his earpiece or whatever, and they said, "Oh, we have a cop coming," and they're like, "That's not our guy. That's not our guy." So it's just, I think it was just a dude dressed up as a cop.
Oh,
I don't think it was a cop in on it.
Okay.
At least that's how I interpreted it. Could be wrong though.
Got it. All right. So after getting suspended, rightfully so, because like 3 people died because of him.
Yeah,
they could have just done.
I like how like even Sean's still at that after that, because I think it started off being like, so I'm suspending you. He's like, oh, why? Like, bruh, like even regardless if no one died, like you pummeled someone's face in, assaulted someone while you're undercover, and started a whole shootout where there's probably injuries at very least, hospital bills that need to be paid now. But then he's like, yeah, and 3 cops. He's like, 3 cops died.
You got 3 officers killed for no reason because you couldn't keep your emotions in check, and you're gonna actually question.
Yeah, and he still was like, he's like,
for only 6 months.
Once again,
only 6 months.
This goes back to IRL though, where
it
cops get transferred. It should be never. It should be jail time. Vin should be going to jail in this movie at this moment.
But somehow, after getting suspended, he's allowed to visit Memo in jail again.
Yeah, we didn't. I think we kind of skipped over it, but his first, I did like his first scene with Memo, where like he kept getting closer, and they kept telling him, "Hey, you can't be that close." And then even Memo like vouched for him when he got super close to threaten him. He says like, he was just offering me a cigarette.
Yeah.
I like that scene. But yeah, like they let him in again. I realized that too. I'm like, the big bro, didn't you get your? We heard what happened. Like, how does that not be on the news? Yeah. 1, 2. If someone at my job started a shootout or something, or like got fired, I probably would know who it is and be like, "Hey, you can't come in the office anymore. What are you doing here?"
Yeah, even if it was like, Memo had like, and I guess invite is a weird word for use for that, but like visiting hours and such, and requested to see someone in particular, like, want to see my wife, want to see my child, like they would still just say no. You know what I mean? Because this guy kills the guy.
Yeah, this ain't like a dude who like robbed a bank.
These both are people that have nothing to lose now. You know what I mean? He's just gonna kill Memo in there out of revenge or whatever. But he visits him and they formulate a new plan. Sean tries to get a crew to raid the dealer's bar. Demetrius says no at first, rightfully so. But Big Sexy's already. In fact, he's been dying to get his fucking minigun.
That was so fucking dope. Where I saw like they were like they didn't show it like right front and center, but you could see it like him like putting it in the back,
putting this stuff.
And I'm just like, I was like, fuck
while
yeah.
He's playing Madden 03 and like the shitty LCD screen that like minivans had back then.
Yeah, Big Sexy was great. With all the, we see him later too with the minigun where he comes in with the ski mask and just unloads.
He's the first person in too.
Just clears out that room. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
that's how you earn respect.
Yeah, and for that Demetrius scene where Sean goes to his house, like at his house, and like his wife is there, Demetrius' wife is there, and kind of gives him a look, and like Sean's like, "Oh, what? She doesn't want me here." He's like, "Well, after what happened, do you blame her?" Like, and even Demetrius, and I really wish I get like their blood brothers, and this goes back to the thing was you can tell they're even more blood brothers than I thought they were. Was that like he came back to help Sean when he really arguably shouldn't. One, he just got fired. He probably shouldn't be working with someone who just got fired.
Yeah, you will get fired too
if you get caught. And also, you just said that like your wife was scared that like, oh, they're gonna come after me or come after her. So let me put myself in more harm by getting involved further.
Clearly, he values Sean over his wife.
Yeah, but at the same time, they kept hinting at how like they grew up together, they've done some shit together, good or bad, and then they were gangbangers
or whatever.
But still, I did like that scene where Dimitri's like, dude, I can't, this is too far. Like, you got what you wanted and more and got away with it, and,
Yeah.
basically. But in the end, he does come back, and then he's like, I couldn't let you go into battle without me or whatever. And I was kind of like,
Bloods for life.
I'm like, if this, like, I like both these characters in this movie and like the relationship, but at the same time, I kind of wish they didn't. Like, they didn't, either A, like, one way I think they could have done it better is, like, Demetrius didn't go with them, but Demetrius just tells the cops that, like, this was going down. And, like, let's say Sean got into that predicament where he does with the dude trying to cut his eyes out, and, like, maybe the police raids in then. And, like, that's a way of Demetrius saving him, but then he gets arrested or something in the process. But, like, he's like, hey, at least you didn't die or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was like one idea that maybe that was in the writer's room at some point, but I was kind of like bummed that like they made Demetrius come back and be like,
yeah, I'm throwing my life away for you.
even though you just said all these totally rational things about why I can't get involved anymore and you're insane.
Right. And a rational friend would understand that not putting his child in jeopardy would be something.
It'd be different if Demetrius
friend.
was just living by himself. You know what I mean? And like he was like, yeah, fuck the pigs too. I just work for them, kind of thing. But
what's crazy to me though is that they go back to the same bar he made the deal with. That dude didn't like leave. You know what I mean? Like you ran away. You knew people were still going to be hunting you down, and you just went back to where your business is and just are chilling there.
I guess.
Are you stupid? The man's gonna find you, and he does. You know. That's some weird writing, I'll call it that. So they catch that guy, the dealer, and they set up a deal to catch Hollywood Jack. Essentially, it's the pizza kind of order again, and Hollywood Jack just is none the wiser to it. They catch him too at like the plane lands down in like the middle of nowhere, and they catch Hollywood Jack and. Honestly wish like he was just Diablo the whole time so we could end the movie here, but because it would be nice to actually catch him. Like I hated that character. It was a good job at making me hate that character that I wish we had more payoff with them getting that guy. Instead he randomly dies to some grunt. You know what I mean? Like it's that
he was just a
I
pawn.
wanted more
though.
payoff.
He was like he was a big pawn, but he was still a pawn nonetheless in this big plan.
And Memo would have killed him off when he got back out anyway.
Yeah,
so.
to keep his cover. I like how they were gonna bury him, and like and it's funny he wasn't even like fully buried yet.
Hilarious.
And he wasn't even fully buried.
Tossing dirt at his head.
Yeah, and he's like, fine. And they're like, and I feel like in other movies where you've seen people get buried, they're like already up. The sand is already up to like their chest or something. They can't move their arms. He was like,
or like they
he was just standing in
your own grave.
Yeah, he was just standing in a hole. It wasn't that bad at that situation, but even he was like, I can't do this anymore. I thought that was funny though.
Yeah, I mean, neither of us have been like had it held up, so
hopefully never.
Eventually, it will happen. Eventually, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. They take Hollywood Jack's plane to Diablo. We learn essentially that through this that he wasn't Diablo, but like Sean apparently just like, oh yeah, it's obviously not him. I'm like, oh, I kind of thought it was. I thought that would have been like the twist is like, yeah, the stereotypical Hispanic name Diablo for the bad guys is a white man that an eccentric kooky white man. That's his cover. Like that's what I figured.
I don't know. I kind of knew I feel like he was just a pawn for me, at least the entire movie, personally. One thing I did want to say though, if he was a true hero to the cause, Hollywood Jack, is while he's flying the plane, because he still had to fly the plane. Like they're basically, it was a hostage situation. They're like, but you're still gonna fly it.
Yeah.
Take one from the team. Crash that shit. Yeah, crash that shit. What are they gonna do? Shoot you and try to drive it themselves? They can't land that shit if you never. I don't think we could just go and land a plane right now if we tried. Like we'd crash 99 out of 100 times probably. If or maybe we're lucky we live.
Depends on how high up we are. I could probably figure out.
There's so many buttons, bro.
Probably. But even if it's just something as simple as just keeping it steady and slowing us down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only way we live is like we just destroy half the plane. And that's what I'm saying. Like he needs to take one for the team and just crash that shit.
I could not land a plane. We would die. Or maybe we would be able to radio, and then they do the thing where, like, you know how like planes get the mid-air, fuel like refill, or another plane flies up and refills.
Never
them.
seen that before. No.
That's how it works. But those sends people in to just then fly us down. That's how we would do it. But anyway, they take Hollywood Jack's plane to Diablo. Jack dies as they infiltrate the base and find Diablo, but he's not real. Diablo is just a cover for Memo. Wow. I was actually surprised by that. But I thought at first it was going to be the guy Memo was on the phone with a lot. Like, oh yeah, he was trying to overthrow his boss.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But no, it is just Memo the whole time. But they kill the...
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, you're saying what I was going to say. So
they kill the people there and everyone goes home. But the old cartel leader has escaped because Sean has set up a transfer for Memo on Memo's behalf. So set up the whole time. Obviously, the transfer was going to be taken over. It's dumb. It's always risky in these movies. Prison transfer, high security. Yeah, transfer the Joker. Of course, the Joker is going to bust out.
Yeah. That would have been funny if they had him in there with him. That was the big twist. Diablo was the Joker. But it was Jared Leto. It was Jared.
Oh, fuck it. He just takes a glitter Sharpie and writes damaged on Memo's forehead.
He's like, now look who's damaged.
You get it?
And he just does like a ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. But it's a kind of interesting, more or less, scene of Sean getting shot in the water, fighting that guy, I don't know his name, cartel man.
Both of them get shot and like barely get out of there, actually. And I do appreciate that. I feel like in these movies too, like I keep comparing these movies to like Man on Fire and all those kind of revenge movies, John Wick, even Mandy, yes. Where like they don't ever get injured, or if they do, it's like not the worst, but like we see later that like Sean, at least for the time being, has a limp,
limping forever. Yeah,
because he took a shot to the leg, and they barely both got out of there because they both got shot, right? And they,
yeah,
which I don't know how they explain that to the hospital. But like, hey, you're off the clock. You both have gunshot wounds. What are you doing?
This is my problem with
Mexico?
The ending, because he obviously was with them, in on the CIA or DEA's raid on them the whole time. I hate this epilogue for that reason alone. You took an initiative, you took a risk, you jeopardized the life and career of your friend, and so you figured it out. Memo also escaped because of you. So we get it. You know about it, but like that doesn't mean that you're off the hook for any of that shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hate this ending.
See, I don't know if I hate it, because
I hate this ending. Let me explain what goes on. So he's on the phone with Demetrius, and Demetrius is like, "Hey man, sorry, it's not your fault. How did you know? Blah blah blah." And Sean's like, I'm taking the advice. I'm somewhere to calm myself. And so it's assuming that Demetrius doesn't know. Hangs up. He's being an undercover random person. He's in Mexico. He's limping. I'm assuming the limp was real. It wasn't like a cover. He's got a hat on. He's smoking his cigarette. He's walking through. Everyone's looking at him because he doesn't fit in. Whatever. He's walking through. He finds a Memo at a table out in a restaurant outside with some women and obviously some people guarding him. They make eye contact. He walks up. It's the bad guy thing of like, I told you I would get out. I told you shouldn't fuck with me. You shouldn't come down to Mexico. Blah, blah, blah. What do you think you're going to do? Kill me? And Sean puts down some handcuffs and said, if I wanted you dead, I would have done it already. Which is what Memo said to him earlier in the movie. And he walks away, and half of Memo's guys were actually, CIA, DEA agents, and then they arrest him. What I hate about this is, what the hell did Sean have to do with this plan at all? They waited for him to say a line, and then that was it. Like, cinematic I'm sorry, it's effects. Not how that works. That's not how that works.
There's a lot of things in this movie, though, that are not how it works.
for sure.
I think as soon as Vin pulls a gun on that one guy in front of everybody, he would have been suspended right then and there, and we wouldn't have gotten the rest of the story. So, I mean, I get your critique, but at the same time, I kind of just like, this is just a...
What I would have wanted for the ending that is artistic, that is also not how it works, but it would have been at least cool, going with what you're saying there, is he sits down at the table, and maybe we don't know what ultimately happens, but they talk. And then that's it. Maybe he just kills him knowing he's going to die because he's got nothing else
That
to
was
lose.
what I thought was going to happen.
Maybe they'll go in on it.
That's what I thought was going to happen. Instead of the
something.
handcuffs, I thought he was going to pull out a nade, like a hand grenade or something that was already unpinned. And then it just ends like there where you're like, okay, I'm assuming the nade went off, or it was a dud. I don't know which. But I feel like you wouldn't go into that situation with a fake grenade. But I will say, like, I personally wasn't like really disappointed in the ending. I was just kind of like, oh, you know, it made it seem that like, oh, Sean was smarter than Diablo was, you know, in this whole scheme that like, yeah, he knew he would get away, but we just got you again anyways. Like, I knew I was going to get you again. And with that line, he said, if I wanted you dead, I would have done that already. Like, made it seem like, oh, I was one step ahead of you, actually.
Which is also out of the blue.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't hate the ending. I wouldn't say I would hate it like you're saying, but I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with the ending. I feel like it just kind of fit the movie. I still think, though, if I had to change it, like you said, I would have him either kill him, or I guess have it end
he's gonna die
in the conversation.
too.
But I feel like his whole thing was he wanted to kill the person who killed his wife, whatever it takes. So I feel like the better ending would be him killing him, whether he dies or not, because he's nothing to live for anyways, and made it seem. So why would it not be like a hand grenade or just pull out a gun and you both get shot?
Like, they even make him look like his attire when he's walking through there is someone that has nothing left. You know what I mean? But apparently he's supposed to have grown. How many times was Demetrius yelling at him for flying off the handle, and he still does it anyway? There even isn't any acknowledgement that he's doing bad things throughout this movie, you know? So, but all of a sudden, nope, now he's better.
Well, doesn't he go... does the movie end right when he gets arrested, or does it go back to when he's looking at the gravestone?
Yeah, and he... Okay, so here's some cemetery etiquette question for you, because I'm not 100% clear. It is bad to stand in front of the stones because you're standing above the casket, right?
I don't know.
Isn't that
I don't think
not right?
People do it all the time.
I was always told you don't stand over the person.
How else do you set those flowers?
You stand like next to it. You said no.
But there's a line of people sometimes. Then you stand behind the graves, but then you're standing on the other guy's body, behind him. Well,
my assumption is that there is spacing at sides of the graves, and then like behind the stone, there's like maybe 2 feet, 3 feet of space before you are above.
We better start putting some
like
paint lanes. Put some paint down so we know where we can walk. I don't think so. I think people have always, at least for me, at least.
But then, like I've seen it in stuff all the time. But like I was always told, like, don't stand over, or you're standing over people. That's disrespectful. That's what I was always told.
If I ever get buried in a cemetery, y'all feel free to stand wherever the hell you want.
I'm gonna fucking take a dump on you.
Whatever you need to do, man. Whatever you need to do to cope.
This is what he would have wanted. Don't look, though.
Don't look, though. He can only look from below.
Yeah, and he touches the gravestone and asks Demetrius who picked it out, and he said we all did. She would have liked it. Looks like all the other gravestones around there, besides the obviously expensive, Washington Monument one and the angel in the background.
Spent $100,000.
I've been to an expensive cemetery up in New York. That's up by the Lakemore, and there is like the mausoleum looking one, and the crying angel on the grave. There's just a bunch of paved gravestones. I'm like, man, even in death, there's classism.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
This sucks.
I mean, that goes back to pharaohs versus just average Joe who built the pyramid. The slave that built the pyramid who probably just got buried in some sand somewhere without a gravestone. But then you have to bury the pharaoh who's never had to do really anything besides exist. But
not even much like ruling, governance, or direction the pharaohs ever actually did. Like it was all kind of just a system. But gravestones are expensive, by the way.
I was gonna say
like,
too. I always wondered
really
though in these
expensive.
movies, do they edit that? Do they make like a prop one that they cut to for the shot, and then when they're actually
think
at the
so.
graveyard, they just
I think so.
you know what I mean? Pick a random one. They're like, okay, this is the one we're gonna do.
Or they named someone after this person that
is-
they found with the dates and everything.
But
This
they
person that died in 2003.
but they always put that warning at the end of the movies, be like, anything you see here that might
Yeah.
seem real, it isn't. It's coincidence. I will say though, talking about grave etiquette in movies, though, I made a short film on old 16 millimeter actual Kodak film using an old like 1930s camera for a film class I did at the University of Rochester when I was in like 9th grade or whatever. And I made a horror film that was like 2 minutes. And I had a scene where it was shot at, was it Mount Hope there, cemetery in Rochester? That really big one.
That's the one I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah. And I did shoot a scene where I had a hand coming up from a grave, and I definitely used some random person's area.
Damn.
But hey, if I die and my gravestone's in like a cool movie, fuck it. That's cool. I'm down.
Your permission right here in the Chronicles of Diesel is
Vin, if I die, feel
Take
free
it.
to use me in a Fast and Furious chase where they go through a graveyard and you hit my gravestone. That'd be dope, dude.
You can use my dead body as a rag doll.
Jesus.
You just like an explosion happens and my dead body flies away.
Yeah, like that's cool by me. Cool by me.
So the movie is completed. I already said the 3 facts of trivia I had. There really wasn't much for it, besides random stupid stuff that is not important. Like, yeah, the bad guy in this is a bad guy in another movie, or stuff like that. So who cares? But what did we think about A Man Apart? I'll go first, because I usually let you go first. I'll go first this time and say that, weirdly enough, so on episode 60 of the Sonic Movie Show, we talked about a movie that I thought was a good dumb fun, and I liked it. And you had the opposite opinion of it. You thought it was boring, right? Both valid opinions to have. And weirdly enough, this movie was dumb fun, but I didn't really care for it, and I thought it was boring. So I don't know. Like, to me, like, I think as far as like craftsmanship and like the execution of what they wanted to do, I don't think there's really much negative to say about the film in that regard. Like, it was a well-made, albeit boring movie. Like, it had all the parts you would have expected. The twist of the wife dying as revenge and all that stuff is by the numbers, in my opinion. How they deal with the big bad is always different, obviously, in all these movies. In this case, it was a twist of the guy you had all along was him, which isn't necessarily unique either. Maybe in how they do it was a bit of like a shock of like, oh, well, you never built this up at all. So yes, of course, this is a surprise. Like it could have been aliens the whole time. Yes, that's a twist. Just because you don't build it up. But I don't know. To me, like, I don't hate anything of it, and I'm just talking about the movie itself. We're not talking about Vin Diesel yet. Everything about it just seems very stereotypical and boring, but it's not like also bad. So to me, it's a fine movie. It's okay. What about you?
At face value, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's a fine movie. Yeah, we both just watched Resident Evil Apocalypse for a previous episode.
I forgot what the name of it was. That's why I didn't want to say the wrong one.
REA, dude, as the fans like to say. REA.
There's one called Afterlife, though.
AL. REAL. Real. Dude, you watched Real last week?
Instead of Reef?
Yeah. But compared to like that's not the whole point of the show, but like
right.
Out of all, since that was the 2 movies I watched this past weekend, I was not worried about falling asleep during this movie than I was during Resident Evil Afterlife.
Really?
If anything, we went and got ice cream beforehand, sat down and watched Vin act, and I was like, cool, that was a great night. I had fun. I thought that, like you said, though, like the execution was pretty well. I feel like there's nothing in here that I was like, this is dated in any way, besides like the phone, but like you can't control that. But just the story I thought was pretty good. There's some plot holes in there, but whatever. They kind of, I was kind of forgiving of it just because I like some of the characters. There's some cool moments, like I said, like the hospital scene. I like the scene where he beats up Hollywood Jack. There's some really good scenes in there. I never felt like I was disinterested. Like I never really was out of it as compared to Resident Evil Apocalypse, just in terms of interest. I mean, I know we're gonna do our rankings, but like out of all of them, like for me, like I had a lot of fun with this one. I guess not like I wasn't like having a blast, but like I enjoyed my time. I didn't feel like I was wasting my time. Like, okay, I'm only watching this because of the podcast. Like, if just like, I don't know if I would have found this without this show, but let's say like it was on TV and I just happened to sit down and started watching it, I probably would sit to the end instead of getting up.
Interesting.
And be like, okay, I gotta finish vacuuming the other room or whatever I needed to do.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think the title means? A man apart.
A man apart from his wife.
I guess
it is a weird title.
The only thing that separates the cartel from owning the drug distance is one man. It's a man apart. I don't really know.
I think Diablo would have been a fine title, honestly, because it is the main villain. But I guess the story is more about Sean and less about Diablo. Really, like everything moves around because of him. Not because of...
I did not know anything about this movie. I did not know it was about even action at all. I did not know anything about this movie. A Man Apart to me sounds more like a rom-com or like a comedy, like a family comedy.
I thought it was going to be on face value when you hear the title. I think of like a drama. Like it was just going to be like a drunk man loses his marriage because he fucked up. And like now it's about him trying to get the kids back or something. And like he's trying to like make it up to his wife, even though he won't get married again. You know, he's trying to be a father figure. Like that's where my brain was going, where I'm like, you know, a man apart from his opposite, which is their wife or whatnot. So, but
very interesting. Let's rank this film. So, on the Chronicles of Diesel, we have two rankings. We have the movies and how good they are, and Vin Diesel's performance. We'll talk about Vin Diesel in this film in a second, but right now we're going to be ranking the movie with the rest of our list, which so far we have 10 films. This is our 11th, and how they fit in there in terms of just the quality of the film overall. So I'll catch you up on what our ranking is already, and if you want to know more about our thoughts on these movies, go check out our other episodes. So number 1, we have Saving Private Ryan. Number 2, Triple X. Number 3, The Fast and the Furious. Number 4, The Iron Giant. Number 5 was Awakenings. 6 was Boiler Room. 7, Pitch Black. 8, Knockaround Guys. 9, Multifacial. And number 10, Strays. I think we both agree that this movie is fine. It's not excellent. It's not bad. It's fine. It's something that maybe you would have on the TV, maybe you wouldn't, because other things might be better. But it's not something.
I like how we go back to that now. Every month we go back to like, would you have it on in the background, or would you actually be paying attention, or would you just never have this on the TV ever again?
We have 3 bits. We have 3 bits. We do that. We talk about Vin Diesel's beach house, and we talk about 9/11. And we didn't do 9/11 yet. So.
I almost did it though. I was thinking about it when I was saying Hollywood Jack should crash the plane. I was going to say he should do a 9/11 and crash it in Pennsylvania,
Jesus.
But I didn't want to go to it. But here we are again. Anyways, there we go. We fit the bill. We did what you wanted.
In my opinion, I struggle around 5, 6, and 7. So I don't know if I like it more than Awakenings, more than Boiler Room, or more than Pitch Black.
Really?
I struggle. To me, I think Pitch Black, which is the first Riddick movie, if you didn't know, before they decided to call the series Chronicles of Riddick, had a lot of bad, but it had a lot of great. And depends on how you look at it, maybe the great outshines a mediocre or just okay film, but the bad holds it back. I don't know. Boiler Room is a very similar thing where it was parts of it were boring, but some of it was really good. And Awakenings is just a very wholesome Robin Williams movie. So it's hard to put
Yeah.
this above that. I don't know because I can't really nail one down. Where are you thinking this movie goes?
So the thing is, for me, and the last couple months we've done this, I've always immediately I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. I know exactly where to put it. And after watching it, I'm like, okay, out of all the ones I remember watching, I totally forgot Iron Giant was on there and Awakenings was
Really?
on there, because I was just like, oh, probably fourth. I'd probably watch this again before I watch Iron Giant, Awakenings, Boiler Room, Pitch Black. That's how it's easy for me to where I put out on the list. And I think I said that last time was if I'm struggling to put it anywhere, I'm where would, out of all these movies, if I had to watch another movie again in a certain order, where would I put it? And honestly, for me, the highest I'd put it is fourth, or the lowest I would put it is above Boiler Room.
So 5, 4 or 5 is what you're saying.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I think
Well, it'd be
the Iron
6
Giant
if it's
is.
below
I think the Iron
Awakenings.
Giant is a better movie than this all around. I think it's better made. I think it is an above average in terms of my enjoyment. I think the Iron Giant is also a really good animated film. I think there's good.
It's so hard to compare an animated
I don't want to
film
call it
to a cop buddy
cinematography
film,
when it's.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. But I like Iron Giant more, so I definitely don't think that this is better than Iron Giant. And I do struggle around Awakenings and Boiler Room, but I can agree with putting it at number 6 then. So it would be Iron Giant, Awakenings, Man Apart, Boiler Room, if that's what you want to go with.
That's what I'm
too.
leaning to, because I'm even though I keep going back to I think Awakenings is a really good movie and very eye-opening for mental illness, not representation, but just awareness, what goes on in these hospitals, and that some of these people, a lot of people who actually could be helped, but maybe they don't do that. They don't want to help them because it's easier just not helping them. I like that whole story and all that, but at the same time, I'm going back to if I would watch it again, I don't know if that was just such an emotional movie that I'm just I don't want to ever put myself through that. I've seen it, I know it, and I don't know if I could do that again. Where I'm I probably would watch A Man Apart again, but
yeah, but that doesn't make A Man Apart a better movie.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just it was easier for me to differentiate that way. But yeah, I think 6 there would be good, above Boiler Room, and Awakenings above A Man Apart.
It's settled then.
Yeah,
It's settled then. I'll update the rankings. That number 1 was Saving Private Ryan, 2 Triple X, 3 The Fast and the Furious, 4 The Iron Giant, 5 Awakenings, 6 A Man Apart, 7 Boiler Room, 8 Pitch Black, 9 Knockaround Guys, 10 Multifacial, and staying at the bottom probably forever, number 11 Strays. All right.
God bless Strays. Unless there's a Spirits Within Vin Diesel film coming up.
The Pacifier might be terrible.
I don't
Who
know.
knows?
We'll see.
Let's talk about Vin Diesel's performance in these movies. I think we actually did a pretty good job of not even mentioning him really at all when we were talking about this movie, for better or worse, to be honest. I think that this was a solid Vin Diesel movie. I think that obviously he's the lead, which is, this is the second time in a row where he was the lead intentionally. We had a couple movies where he was the lead in post, where they decide afterwards, yes, he is more important than Paul Walker, rest in peace, or he is more important in Pitch Black than the other people. The second movie where he is billed as the lead, and I don't think that it is hard to have him be good in a movie where he has all the screen time. So, I think he was good. I think that he didn't show a lot of gravitas or range in the several scenes where he flies off the handle. It is kind of yep, he can't handle it again. Yep, he can't handle it again. Yep, he got triggered because the guy said he killed his wife, you know what I mean? And he's got to break his cover. To me, none of that was done extraordinarily well, but it wasn't bad. This movie, to me, cements Like, this isn't like a fantasy film, a sci-fi film where he's an action hero. This is a regular kind of cop drama with a cartel drug flair to it. To me, this is more kind of regular drama acting. And to me, this establishes, yes, he is Hollywood caliber acting. Like, this is what I expect from what we would consider a big-ish name in Hollywood. If he did less than this, I would say he's a bad actor. And he's not a bad actor because he can do one of these to at least this level. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I just really, maybe it's just, I don't know, I like maybe some of the scenes more than you did, specifically like the hospital scene that I keep going back to. I think he does a good job, but then at the same time, you are right that I feel like every, like, I would say good actor in Hollywood, not saying all, like, even the great ones would have done movies like this, right? Where, like, the revenge story, my significant other died, or my child died, or was kidnapped, or whatnot.
Taken.
I was like Liam Neeson. Taken.
Yeah. That's the movie that brought him back, and it was a movie that was under the radar, low budget, essentially like this one.
Yeah,
you know,
and I don't think there's anything wrong with those kind of movies. I don't know if I necessarily agree with this, but I feel like there is this kind of, like, at least for people who are really into like acting, I'm saying, like, whether it be theater or movies, a lot of people say, like, oh, everyone's making fun of that one movie with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, where, like, oh, that one scene got them an award because they were arguing. I didn't see the movie because I had no interest in seeing it, but everyone's making fun of it. They're like, oh, this is like the basic stuff that you do in theater class, but yet they're getting an award with it. I'm like, this sounds like you're jealous. But I'm like, you say that, but, like, if me and you wanted to do a scene together where we're going to argue over the kids or something, like, would we execute at the same level as them? Probably not. So I'm trying to keep that in mind as well. But like you said, like, I feel like every good actor has maybe done a movie like this or can do a movie like this. You don't have to kill it either. I don't know if he killed it, but I think he did good, if not great, in it. Like, I think he did what he needed to do. Once again, that is the goal when you're in top billing, is at least do what you need to do. And I feel like he did that. Like, I think he showed emotions well. It's funny, the director does Fate of the Furious. In the future, you had kind of a similar arc in a character here, and Vin kind of does the same thing in that as well, where I'm the family guy, you know, I have a cool head when we need to, but now I'm pissed, and now I'm breaking. You know, now I'm showing, I'm showing my emotions more. And I feel like out of all the movies we've seen, I think Vin at least shows anger more in this compared to other ones. Yeah. At least throughout. But it's also with screen time, like you said. So I guess I would say overall, though, is I think he did good or great. It's kind of hard for me looking at this list, though, once we say it out loud here, where I'm going to put it, though.
Yeah, so that list as follows for just Vin Diesel's performance in these films is as follows. Number 1, Triple X, I lost that fight. Number 2, The Fast and the Furious. Number 3, Boiler Room. Number 4, Multifacial. Number 5, Pitch Black. Number 6, Knockaround Guys. Number 7, Strays. 8, The Iron Giant. 9, Saving Private Ryan. And 10, Awakenings. And if you want to know more of our opinions on his performances in these films, check out the other episodes. Yes, it's performance. Saving Private Ryan is still better than all these movies. It's just his performance in it. I think this one's tough. I think that this is definitely better than Knockaround Guys and the stuff below it in terms of his performance.
Yeah, like, I think that's an easy. It's more for me where I'm like, I don't think it's above Fast and Furious. Definitely
no.
But I think I
had more fun with him in Pitch Black, though. But I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of, like, how much range he showed in this movie compared to Pitch Black, where he was just...
And you're right. You're right.
Pitch Black is just him playing mysterious killer guy who's can smell people well.
And we hate the Dominic Toretto aspects of it, where, like, he's the sage person that has shown nothing that he earned that. You're right.
And he's not that in But once again, this goes back to how is the character written for him, and does he execute that character? It's not necessarily his fault that he plays a character that is a sage, if that's what the script told him to do. We don't know how much. Right. We never will know unless we get him on here and we can ask him personally how much.
We're gonna have so many fucking questions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a 10-hour interview. We're gonna have to get McDonald's like 3 times.
Yeah. Well, like stuff like we're like, okay, when you read a script, how much of it is improvised? Do you get a general idea and then you just go out and like what comes out? Or do you do it verbatim where it's like, oh, I say I went to my car, or do you say I'm going to my car to do X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? There's so much of that where we don't really know. But I feel like for Pitch Black, it's like they want him to be a mysterious killer, and he did good in that. Yeah. But like at the same time, did he have moments where he could have added more range? I think so, where he could have been like more humanized when he really, at the end of the day, still kind of seemed like a dick of a character. You know, like he saved the day at the end, but not really. And if he had more range in that movie, maybe he could have expressed that more, that change in character or that growth. When in this one, like, but to be fair, in A Man Apart, he doesn't really have growth either, except for he's just pissed off, and he kind of gets his man at the end.
We're told that he growed by the one final line he says, but like no.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's what the script might have given him, and like that's the arc.
That's what's tough about it. Now, he is a producer in this movie, and he wasn't on Pitch Black, which means that he probably had a bit more say on what he was given to say. And also he's been, well, no, I was going to say he's also been established by movies like Fast and Furious and Triple X, but those movies were filmed after this one, so maybe we take a step back from that idea. I've come back around on Pitch Black. You are right. I think I just had more fun with like the actiony stuff he did. But you're right. Yeah. I actually hated his character. Now that I think about it. So then it goes to me more about, was he better in this movie at being, for what it's worth, stock Hollywood quality actor versus any type of, I'm putting my everything into this indie film I'm funding myself, where I do everything, which is multifacial. Well, it was a short film. Strays was the main one. But, like, which do we find more valuable in terms of his performance? And that is where it's just like, it's like trying to, argue a buddy cop movie is better than an animated film that is not a buddy cop thing. Like, it's similar, where these are, one's an egg and one's an orange, and they're in a basket, and we're saying it's Easter, or we're saying it's a fruit basket. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Damn, I made that one up on the spot. That was actually pretty good.
Write that down.
Actually, shit, I wrote MH item with a J. I don't know. I want to say, okay, at the very least, depending on whether we say this is better or worse than Multifacial, which is at number 4, we know it's not beating 1 or 2, XXX or Fast and Furious, the Fast and Furious. Do we consider this better than Boiler Room?
See, now I'm like going back to, I'm like, shit, is Boiler Room just too high now? Now I'm looking back, I'm like, should we have put Multifacial above Boiler Room? Because I'm like, I feel like it's better than Boiler Room, but maybe
Boiler
not
Room
better
had that one
than
awesome
Multifacial.
monologue, and that's why we put it above Multifacial.
That monologue was great. You're right. Like that. Like if you take away that monologue, then Boiler Room is probably down to like 8.
8. Yeah.
So
then we have to, basically off that logic, is this movie better than the monologue in Boiler Room? Now, I was coming off a high off that monologue, and I'm bored throughout this movie, but it's not bad.
But why are you bored? Is it because of Vin, though, or is it because of the story and the other characters? That's my thing. And we did this before, too. We've said this before. We've used this as a metric as well. Was Vin the best actor in this film?
Yeah, big sexy, though.
Was he the best actor in Boiler Room?
I don't know. Yes? I guess my confusion,
in Fast and Furious,
he is.
In Triple X, he is, by a long shot.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like, the gap between the Fast and
points.
Furious and Boiler Room. I don't know if I even agree with it. I'm just like, this is what my brain is thinking. It's trying to, like, pick something.
No, you're right. Everything below number 2, everything below Triple X and Fast and Furious, I would hesitate to suggest he's the best actor.
Multifacial, I would say yes. But out of the rest,
Well,
in Pitch
that's
Black,
not fair though, because there was a no-name people that he, you know what I mean?
Pitch Black though, I feel like he was the best actor in though.
I don't know. I honestly don't. I think the main woman there who was in Silent Hill was probably better.
That's a toss-up then. I would say. Yeah.
You know what? I think this deserves number 3 based off that logic. You're right. And I don't want to just be like, yes, what he said 100% without actually.
I was
kind of
leaning towards 3 or a low of underneath multifacial. But the more I think about
we can categorize his performance on was he the best actor or not.
And he was top billing, and he did his job.
Yeah, I think yes, it's settled. The ranking is as follows: number 1, Triple X; number 2, The Fast and the Furious; number 3, A Man Apart, aka Diablo; 4, Boiler Room; 5, Multifacial;
Director's
6,
cut.
Pitch Black; 7, Knockaround Guys; 8, Strays; 9, The Iron Giant; 10, Saving Private Ryan; and 11, Awakenings. Both better movies than all of these for the most part.
It's funny that we have one of the better films at the very bottom, and like, to be fair though, we put Triple X at number 2 because we just love that movie because of how crazy goofy it is, and that Vin is just amazing in it.
There we have it. That is our Vin Diesel discussion for the month. Next month on January 1st, New Year's Day, we're going to be talking about.
Damn,
January
you're right.
1st.
Holy fuck! God damn, dude, it's January. It's 2021 already. Fuck.
We're going to be talking about the Chronicles of Riddick, the 2004 sequel to Pitch Black, which I don't know if I'm excited for or not. Because I was excited for Pitch Black, and it was not what I wanted at all. It was
Sci-Fi Channel bad.
Yeah,
not even fun.
Bad.
Not even
like
8-Legged Freaks good. Like it was bad.
But off the success of that and the new direction of having Vin Diesel's character be the focus, does it make the Chronicles of Riddick good? Who knows? We'll find out next month. I've never seen that movie, and you haven't either.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
We'll
with
see
you
after the holidays. We get a gift. That'll be our Christmas gift. Is Chronicles of Riddick.
Exactly. You'll find that episode just like you found this one on a variety of podcast services. Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes, I already said that, I guess, Amazon's Audible app, and a variety of other places, as well as YouTube, the first of every month. Let us know what you thought about A Man Apart by contacting us on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show. I'm on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at CURSONA YouTube. And go ahead and listen to our other movie episodes that we do on the Sonic Movie Show, where we're talking about video game movies. And let us know what you think about A Man Apart in the future.
We're still a men apart.
We are.
This pandemic.
Because of COVID. We'll see y'all next month. Adios.
Happy holidays.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race. Ride or die, remember?